Hi guys, this is Carolina Varsity. We're in our 2015 season, and we're in the regional finals, and we've got a big ball game of number 2 Crest coming to play number 1 Concord. I'm Dale Ross.
Jeff Miller.
And I'm Anthony Perkins.
This is the 3AA Western Regional Finals. Anthony, get us rolling here.
Well, the winner of the Crest Concord game this Friday night will go up against the winner of the Southern versus Northern Gilbert game this Friday night down in the East. Concord, the number 1 seed, as you said, comes in with a 13-1 record going up against Crest with a 14-0 record. Crest hails from the South Mountain Athletic 2A, 3A Conference. Concord from the South Piedmont 3A Conference. Concord got to this stage of the playoffs by defeating Sun Valley 56-28 first round, led for 37-0 2 weeks ago, and last week South Iredale 39-14. Crest has arrived here by defeating Piedmont 30-7 in the first round, Cuthbertson 31-21 in the second round, and last week Weddington 47-45, 2 Union County teams and 2 very tough opponents. Concord comes in with averaging about 32 points per game on offense, giving up about 12 per game. Crest comes in averaging about 40 points on the offensive side of the ball, and they're giving up about 15. They have no common opponents this year. Rushing leaders for Concord are P.J. Hall coming in with 102 yards. For South Point, it's Trey Harbison with 102 points. For Hall, I mean 102 yards. Trey Harbison coming in with about 115-yard average. Quarterback Keenan Black for Concord is tossing the ball for about 168 yards per game. Willie Green for Crest is throwing the ball for about 251 yards per game.
Right.
Statistically, the teams are only about 15 yards apart in the total offensive output. Concord 375 yards per game. Crest with 388 yards per game. Last year, the Crest team was, in my opinion, I went down and saw them play the state championship. They were the best defensive unit in the state. They're a notch down from that this year. As a matter of fact, Concord's defense is allowing less points per game than Crest is this year. But Crest has still got a very powerful team on both sides of the ball. Concord is coming in. They're hot. They're on a roll after losing the opening game of the year to Kannapolis, A.L. Brown. So it's going to be a tough ball game, and they are playing up in Concord. And I know that there's fans out there that don't like that because Concord lost the game, Crest didn't, but that's just the way it goes.
That's the way it goes.
But I still think that even though Crest is, I think they're having a tougher time this year in the playoff brackets.
Right.
They're not blowing the doors off of anybody this year. They're winning by close margins. Last week they had a good lead. They let it evaporate and had to finally go into overtime before they finally beat Weddington. Of course, that's not a disgrace because Weddington brought a good team to the field last week.
Right.
And had they have won last week, it would not have been a major upset. It would have been an upset, but not a major one. But I'm still, even though Crest is not playing in familiar surroundings this week, I'm going to make them three-point favorites.
All right, so we'll start out the report. Carolina Varsity High School Football Report has Crest over Concord 27-22. So 1-score ball game. Actually, when you were going down the Crest playoff teams, all 3 teams are from Union County.
Oh, that's right, they are, yeah.
Because Piedmont, Cuthbertson, and Weddington
yeah.
are all Union County teams. So the impressive thing about that is Weddington is known for defense. And to put 47 points on Weddington in the playoffs, that's pretty good. The concerning point is Weddington's not really known extensively for offense, and giving up 44 points. It's kind of a little bit of an eye-opener for you to think about. Concord's a team that they lost the first ball game of the season. I was there at the ball game. Jeff was there. Concord was a young team, and so they've kind of gone through a youth injection and or less experienced players. They graduated a lot of players, and getting those players matured. and have done a very good job of that. As we can see, they haven't lost a ball game since. To the fans that complain about the process of Concord being ranked over or seated over Crest, hey, everybody gets to drop a loss. If you play an endowment game, you can drop a non-conference loss, and that's what happened here. So they reported a 10-0 record, and Crest reported a 10-0 record. Had they played each other, then that would have been used as a tiebreaker, but they didn't play each other. So you don't like the process, complain to the coaches and the ADs and get them to go to the NCHSAA. Let's drop the endowment game. I would love to see that go away. I got my ideas, but that's for another video. Crest is ranked number 3 out of 3AA in the Carolina Varsity football report, and Concord is ranked 9th. In the Max Preps, it's 1 and 3. So Crest is number 1 and Concord's number 3. We've got 2 real good offenses coming in to play each other. I think from a defensive point of view, probably if we averaged out, Crest has probably got a better offense overall, even though they're close statistically. But I think Concord's probably got a better defense than. So that's what's going to pull the game back to being closer, in my opinion. I think Crest is, while Concord statistically is very close offensively, I do believe Crest, when these two teams get on the field against each other, Crest has a more dynamic and a higher scoring offense, I think. But Concord has a better defense. So it's going to be interesting to see if the ball game can be kept in the 20s. Concord's got a chance. I really believe they got a chance. The thing is Crest has that potential. Exactly. They got that potential to get up into the 30s and 40s. Now, Concord has shown us that potential too, but not necessarily against a team like a Crest. So it's in Concord's best interest to keep this game down in the 20s. And I'm going to tell you what, if Concord can hold Crest to 21, Concord takes the win here, I think. I believe that, of course, Crest could turn around and hold Concord to 14, but I think that's going to be the magical point, is to be somewhere in that 21, 24 point range is the most that Concord should want Crest to get.
And from what it seems like, sounds to me like Concord didn't just rebuild, they reloaded. Looks like from week 5 or week 6 on, Concord has been getting better and better each week, putting up points offensively, and and the playoffs. They put up 56 first round, 37 the second round, and then beat a really good South Iredell team 39-14, and that really, that really grabs my attention right there. And the fact that Crest is, ever since the Shelby game, they've been giving up all these points to both Cuthbertson and Weddington. Kind of makes you think, and we've already established earlier in this video that Crest defense is not as potent as they were last year, and that's kind of surprising given that they've brought back 8 starters from that squad. But I've also heard that there's been some injuries on that defense too. So if you're snake bit, sure, your level of play is going to be down a little bit. So, and I don't see these teams scoring in the 20s. I see them both being in the 30s, like a 34-30 ball game. That's just how I see it. That's just based on how they're trending these previous weeks. I just don't see them scoring less than 30 points. I could see a 34-30 game. I'm going to pick Crest to win, but it would not shock me at all if Concord beats them and advances to play the winner of the Southern-Northern Guilford game.
But if we talk trending, Concord held South Iredell to 14 points, and South Iredell's a very high-powered offense. That's kind of one of the impressive things to look at, is what has Concord done against high, potent offenses. And after that 14-point output by South Iredell, which was a low output, South Iredale's offense is still the 16th best offense in 3A football after that output. So that's kind of one of the things to look at is that Concord can they can put a good defense on the field. They got a good offense, but I don't know. I mean, Crest shows us that you can put a good defense on the field. We're going to put a whole lot of points up because Weddington has a good defense. They were a good defensive team, and Crest shows us that we will give up a whole lot of points too in doing that. So it's really kind of I don't know. It's hard to. And I'm just looking at some things here in the report and the best defenses. Concord is ranked number 1 in best defenses in the Carolina Varsity Football Report, and Crest is not on the list.
Yes, they are.
Well, in the last, just in the playoffs.
Yeah, they are. They're 14th.
Just in the playoffs, Concord has scored about 120 points against their 3 opponents.
Right.
While at the same time, they've only given up 34 points. 32 points, I'm sorry. Crest has scored about 90 some points, but they've given up, they give up 65 points in just the last 2 games. And that's a bunch.
So another stat, if you want to look at stats, Crest is number 5 in scoring differential of 24.9. So they are number 5, and Concord is number 10 at 20.5. So that's an offensive kind of thing, but that's an offensive and defensive combined. What's your differential? So they're kind of close to each other, and that probably works out to where the report comes up with that 5-point differential. That's probably one of the biggest factors there. So I don't know. It's going to. I think regardless whether it's going to be a high-scoring game or it's going to be a low-scoring game, I don't expect it to be a blowout.
No.
I expect this to be
I think it'll be a close game. Yeah.
a very competitive 1-score game.
I mean, we probably thought it would be a blowout at the beginning of the playoffs, but the more we've seen of these 2 teams, the more we're like, that ain't happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, see, me personally, I saw Concord making it this far. And I probably saw, I think we were saying back a couple weeks ago when we were doing these that Concord was probably one of the favorites, and obviously Crest certainly was one of the favorites, and probably the favorite, and Concord maybe I'd say probably the number 2 favorite, even though they're the number 1 seed. Certainly Crest is more of a favorite to win the state than, and here we are talking about one of these 2 teams winning the state, winning the West region. Although we think they'll probably win the state, we'll see. So another game that's on my short list. I'm gonna have to find out what the lighting is like. Coach Jenkins, let me know. You talk to me more than anybody from up that way, so let me know. Thanks. I hope you guys have a great game, and let us know if you watch this video. Thank you.